I'm Diana Duan-Lee Liao, and at present I'm the Chief Interpreter of the Interpretation Service at the headquarters of the United Nations here in New York.
My name is Brigitte Andreassier-Pearl. I've been an interpreter at the UN for 33 years actually. I started in 71, and for the last 3 years I've been the chief of the French interpretation section.
An interpreter is supposed to understand certain languages and then turn it into their mother tongue most of the time. So for example, a Russian interpreter will hear the original speech in English and in French and turn it into his mother tongue, which is Russian.
Well, interpreting is very different than translating, and there's an enormous amount of pride about that here among the interpreters. They don't like to be called translators.
An interpreter is someone who is listening and literally interpreting on the floor while, say, the General Assembly or is in action or any other particular meeting, and they will interpret at the same time.
School of thought would say, as long as you translate the word, it's okay. No, you have to make sense. It has to be coherent. It's not enough to do the translation. You have to interpret and make full sentences, and you have to make sense in what you say.
You have to speak while the speakers are speaking. So this is called simultaneous interpretation. Translation is written. So you deal with the documents. A good interpreter is not necessarily a good translator and vice versa. It is a cross between a real professional profession and an artistic profession.
One state can acquire at another's expense.
You have to know your technical side, but you also have to have a certain disposition before you can do it well. And when you are in the booth, when you're in front of a meeting, part of it is really performing also, because you are, after all, on air, and you cannot redo what you just did.
The partisans of both Kuman and Ajin Zola have become terrorists.
So they're pretty fascinating people. They've lived international lives. Their research is reading the newspapers or the funny papers or comic books in another language. They're constantly trying to learn slang and current expressions, because when they get in trouble is when conversation gets very technical or moves outside the classical or traditional phrases of language.
Sometimes delegates go too fast, but actually in my case, when it's fast and easy, I like it because it's very challenging. Now, fast and difficult, that's when you just have to, keep your cool. But the main thing is you never have to give the impression to your audience that you are lost.
It is seldom not stressful, because you're not saying what you want to say, but someone else's thoughts. So you can never know where they're going to lead you. When it is politically charged, you're particularly stressful because you really don't want to make a mistake.
Solo es esto una negación de la democracia y sus principios.
It's almost like any other job. If you've never done it, it looks impossible. But listen, brain surgeon is real hard, but you've trained and you can do it, right? Pilot of an airplane, you get the training and then you can do it. So it's the same for us.
I had to interpret recipes. I have to interpret baby feed, the instructions, and but you never know which way it is going to take, because they have a kind of diplomatic banter, no? In the beginning, before they really get into the nitty-gritty, they can be talking about anything.
Hey, mangi, chodź z nami.
For us all, to do a good job, we have to know what we're talking about. And to know what you're talking about, you have to know what is happening in the world. And for that, we might be more involved than people think. They think that we're just interpreting speeches, but actually no. We are really trying to figure out what that country is trying to speak. How we try to help people talk and not fight.